Well, it's nearly over now in Sopot's deadly embrace.
More like your mom, Daddy Embrace.
Is it sad that I'm more excited to hear Tio finish off the manual bios than I am the actual
Honestly,
end of this
I'm
game?
more surprised I went through this entire game.
Right, well now we've got to stop Molov from escaping.
I'm more surprised if I went through this entire game without making a joke about Red Faction 2, more like Red Faction 2.
Red Faction, boo!
Yeah, fair enough. Alright,
Yeah,
let me check if there's any particular dialogue for a while. No, okay. Last we checked, we were on Sniper Gurkwheel, we already done that. Next is Molov, our main villain, I guess. Army of the Commonwealth Commander and decorated war hero. The subject strongly supports the Chancellor's program for nanotechnology experimentation. Recently appointed to the position of Secretary of Defense, the subject is an outspoken advocate for the creation of a force of nanotechnology-enhanced soldier. The subject was the first to volunteer for processing. Post-processing, he reported to Chancellor Sopot, amplification of physical prowess and combat skills are well worth the extreme but transient pain experienced by fighting personnel during the transformation process. Note, subject among 56% of process exhibiting a variety of measurable psychological changes. Subject demonstrates heightened sense of responsibility, enhanced confidence and increased aggression. Post-processing subject IQ rose drastically.
Okay, so basically he pretty much hit the jackpot when it came to
Honestly,
the enhancements.
This bio makes me wonder if they want to put a layer of ambiguity, if it was always power hungry, or if it was the post-processing conversion that actually changed him for that. That's actually not too bad of a nice touch. Lastly,
it's an interesting story idea. Again, the problem is it's not explored as much as it should be in the actual game.
Lastly, we have our fearless hero, Alias, a 7-year veteran of Sopot Special Forces with foreign service experience. Subject has earned the Chancellor's Quattro Cluster from Heroism and the Sopot Medal of Valor. Military service files noted above average intelligence, above average leadership, above average loyalty, above average courage, and above average combat skills. Pre-processing, the subject demonstrated a stable psychology and willingness to cooperate with the experiment. Post-processing, subject continued to demonstrate a stable psychology, was pleased by his enhanced physical and mental abilities, and was eager to use them in service of the Commonwealth. Note the subject is among the 27% of subject who shows no significant psychological change post-processing.
Interesting.
And the rest that I can see, okay, the manual before this, the manual did had also, you know, bios for the guns, for example, but I'm not gonna read those. And other than that, it has a hints and tips, message, and then the credits. No, again, I actually also kind of like how it's, oh, cute. Also, commercial, you know, banner at the end for Summoner too. Cute. And SmackDown.
Guys, it's Molov's there. Kill him. Yeah, so it tells me I don't think the game meant to do that.
The recorder's
He's right there. Why don't you just die?
Is he stupid? The recorder curse strikes again.
Glitch.
Shrike, pick me up now.
Negative. You made a serious error, Molov.
Shrike, pick me up now, and I won't kill you.
Basically, Shrike's like, no, fuck you.
Fair enough.
So Shrike's turning on Molov?
Yeah.
What a surprise.
Huh. So I'm getting the feeling we won't be fighting Shrike.
Either that or he's the like the thesis that he's still alive and doing stuff. I don't know.
Sure, but he's played by Jason Statham. Of course he can't be the bad guy.
Molov's played by a famous actor.
Well, to be fair, Joe, Eriksson has been playing the bad guy multiple times.
Hadn't Jason Statham played a bad guy or two by the point of this?
No, can't remember.
Oh, hey! A sign of her playful personality. Finally. Okay. I guess to be fair, maybe we've been speaking over some of it, but that goes back to the audio mixing issue.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, though, like, I mean, okay. if your character personality is that easy to miss, even if it's there, it's a problem.
I ask you to sacrifice.
That pose.
If not for love of
Why is your voice... Oh, that's probably just the commercial.
today's sacrifice brings tomorrow's.
Surprise!
It's over, Molov. We have the high ground. No!
What?
Grenade.
Fight, I say. Do not tell me that we can.
Slow mo.
It was nicer for the grenade, but did she have to leap out like that?
Oh,
yeah.
I guess.
And the grenade did nothing.
I guess that's our final boss.
Oh, funny. That's just better at flirting than fighting. Ha.
What,
And here's our final. And here's our final boss.
To be fair, I get it. Again, I get it. It's the better way to make you fight the final, the Molov instead of actually still be on foot all the time. It's just that you have been piloting one of these multiple times throughout the game. It feels a bit unpersonal at this point.
Yeah.
I'm also curious, like, I mean, are they implying that she died with that?
Maybe she pulled the other Wong and just, used that as a tactical retreat.
My turn to...
Lads, you have to speak up, I can't hear you.
Even if that was the case, Jova, once again, nobody cares!
And
also, Jason, I thought you were the more louder kind. I can't hear you either.
Jason!
Was Shrike supposed to be saying something to help us there?
Yeah, Shrike's on our side because...
Oh snap! I called it. So
remember, Jova, he's the kooky crazy, possibly the hyena of the team.
You just gave me an idea.
What?
Since Astrobot doesn't have heavy rain bot as at the time of this recording, here's the perfect idea I just said from that. Yeah, you could have an Ethan bot call him, I don't know, concerned father or something like that, and just have the joke with him be tends to yell Jason a lot or something like that. Like it's literally writes itself.
Anyway, what I was saying before is that, again, I'm not gonna read the weapon description, but just to mention briefly, the semi-automatic pistol has this very lengthy description of how it functions, and then the one for the dual wielding, it's literally the phrase, same as a bomb, but with twice the firepower. Thanks, game.
Handy.
And also, yeah, we got all this sound going on, and also the Chancellor, because...
So I'm guessing
we need a reminder of Saddam Hussein.
I'm guessing the idea is that Molov has been projecting the idea that the Chancellor's still alive, so that he can rule the world with them thinking he's
It's so weird, Joe. I rewatched the cutscene where he betrayed us, and it seems like the thing is that, yes, he wants the power, but at the same time, he doesn't care about the actual Red Faction TM. I don't know, it feels... How is it possible that Team America War Police, a movie released just a very few years after this product, despite being a parody, manages to have a much more comprehensible type of bot similar to this than this game? And that's supposed to be played for laughs.
Well, for starters, Team America remembered to have a beginning, middle, and end. This feels like the plot hasn't even truly begun.
And also more charismatic team members, which were supposed to be stereotypes.
A terrorist terrorized this.
Yeah, and again, characters who are... And this game also has characters that are so boring. You had to get, two Hollywood guys to try and spice it up a bit.
Yeah.
Do we have a one-liner to kill him, Dwibs? A red faction dish? I don't know.
Coming in for you, Alias. The statue is about to blow.
Thanks, Jason Shrike.
Oh.
Whoops. Okay, I'm wondering, are they gonna reveal that Shrike was just,
trying to be hostile, and he was always on our side or something. It seems like that. He only pretended to betray Molov at the end. Okay. Again, so we're going. So we're really going with the cookie crazy type of guy that switches sides all the time. Okay.
And then also the Colonel now has the fuck you laser.
Yeah, I noticed. I've seen worse final bosses. At least I'm glad it's not a QTE quest, but I've seen better too.
Come on, Alias, let's get the hell out of here.
Okay.
So it's time to exit the Saddam Hussein statue. That face.
And that is pretty much the end of Red Faction 2.
Woo!
Never tell me the odds.
Well, after this we're going to get some endings.
Yeah, of course, based on our loyalty or whatever it's called.
Alias was decorated for his acts of valor and eventually accepted a position as military advisor to the newly formed Red Faction government.
That's the title of the game.
Killed several innocent people, but
Oh, so is this like the good ending?
Tangier
Oh yeah, right.
He survived, of course.
She went on to pursue a career in politics and became the Commonwealth's first chancellor as a result of democratic election.
Cool.
Okay.
What about Shrike?
It's like an 80s sitcom at the end.
so yeah,
Did you have any better frame to freeze?
Shrike became a pilot, I guess. And yeah, that's it. That's the end of the game.
Okay. Let me guess.
Roll credits.
Let me guess. The difference between good, bad, or worse endings is just they talk about what they did, but I'm guessing the scenes we get for each of the characters is the same each time, isn't it?
They just have different sound effects.
I love how there's an option to quote-unquote stop the credits, just in case you want to take your time and make sure you read every single one of these people.
I get it, yeah, better it's barely worth it, but it will be for skipping them.
Oh, is it? Is it also meant to skip?
That's a good question.
L2. No. You press the triangle button for that.
Oh, so it really is just to stop them, like Peter was saying.
It's so like L2 the opening crawl of Lost Battle.
So basically, Dwibs, L2 pauses the credits?
I guess.
Does it account for the sounds going on in the background, though? I'm
guessing it just stops the text, probably.
The sound going on in the background is the menu music, which is just the music with the evil chancellor.
It's one of those classic type of credits Java where they use the same thing on the menu because you can select them from the menu and it then cuts back to it. So in order to not being too different. I've seen this before. So final thoughts, I guess, or are we getting the endings now?
I'll go first since mine are pretty brief. Fuck this game, it's boring. The story is near non-existent. The gameplay is somehow worse than the previous game because of how much of a sponge most of the enemies are, and also, the lack of how we're able to tell we're even damaging them, aside from a really easy-to-miss health bar for the most part. Really, the only thing that's even vaguely like Red Faction 1 is the music. And, and the voice acting, well, I can't judge most of it because I can barely hear it because of this game's god-awful sound mixing. Like, seriously, how do you have worse sound mixing than the game that came before it?
Well,
now for the alternate endings and the behind-the-scenes video, thanks to Lazy Fire and Mega Spartan 23.
Alias accepted a position as military advisor to the newly formed Red Faction government. When he retired many years later, his memoirs remained on the bestseller list for 17 weeks and were eventually made into a video game.
Very funny.
Eventually, she emigrated to Mars, where she became executive vice president of security for the reorganized.
So she got her ass to Mars. And Shrike?
Shrike remained in the Commonwealth.
We're still ending with the same frames.
Circus performers. Eventually, he made his fortune as the star attraction at a new adventure theme park built on the remains of Sopot Island. Alias was decorated for his acts of valor and eventually accepted a position as military advisor to the newly formed Red.
Yeah, we already saw this ending. I'll just finish my final thoughts real quick. No wonder the series went dormant for years after this, because it's like Volition just wanted to rush this out as quickly as possible, and well, we got a half-baked product as a result. So,
and instead,
yeah,
they did the first two Saints Row, if I recall correctly. In the meantime,
yeah. So yeah, this game sucks.
Okay, I assume the first thing we saw was the best ending, which just makes it weird that the music for Shrike sounds
next
more
up, they got
silly
the next
now,
set of endings,
which I'm guessing are the bad endings.
Alias was branded a mutant and a danger to the Commonwealth. At a public ceremony, he was stripped of his citizenship and sentenced to death. He managed a daring escape just prior to public execution and was never heard from again. Although Tangier survived the fall from Sopot's statue, she was never located. Her body was never recovered.
And how do you know she survived?
Because of his odd appearance and psychological problems, Shrike ended up unemployed and homeless. Alias was tried by the Red Faction government for the massacre in the Red Faction headquarters. Although the evidence of numerous murdered civilians was circumstantial, no one came forward to corroborate his version of events. He was convicted of murder and awaits execution. Tangier was rescued from the harbor by a passing garbage scow. She fell in love with the boat's captain, they married, and she lived happily ever after on the boat with her husband, 6 children, 2 dogs, and 3 cats. Judged to be too unstable to be trusted, Shrike was thrown out of the Commonwealth by the Red Faction government. Eventually, he was shot down as he smuggled bootleg copies of electronic games into the Commonwealth from third world countries.
Okay.
Oh, this is so dumb.
And we're going to end now on the behind-the-scenes video for the games.
5 years after the rebellion on Mars, an elite squad of nano-enhanced soldiers joined forces with the faction to put an end to 15 years of unnecessary bloodshed under the brutal dictator Sopot. Red Faction 2.
So, let's see about the nitty-gritty of the making of this game.
Yes.
Also,
man, they were so proud of this game. They made a behind-the-scenes featurette. Amazing.
Also, I just want to reiterate that apparently Shrike's best ending involves him literally marrying into a family of circus performers. Good lord.
In designing the sequel to Red Faction, one of the best-selling and critically acclaimed releases of 2001, the team at Volition was determined to create an even more immersive experience for the hardcore action fan.
In a fraction of the time.
Yeah, you can tell that they still, had some ideas behind that, different concept arts, way of programming, so I can tell someone cared about the process.
Oh yeah, I can definitely.
Also, look, they seem to have the whole destructibility figures in this stat footage.
In real time.
Red Faction 2 is using an enhanced version of the Geomod engine that we featured in Red Faction 1. We've made it faster, it's more stable
and
now,
more situational.
and I think it reflects the new philosophy.
I do wonder if it was a case where, because the game was shipped this early, they could not implement it as they wanted it.
I'm wondering if it's a case where I get the
feeling
feeling.
This footage seems to be telling a very different story than the main game.
I do get the feeling that we've got a bit of a Sonic 06 situation on our hands, where there was a better engine, but that engine just couldn't be made ready on time.
Or Aliens cloning Marines.
And I think that's what players really enjoy doing.
The ground-up improvements continued with faster load times, higher
You know, again, I'm not even going to throw shade at this documentary because going off of what we're seeing, yes, it does look like there were improvements.
With improved technology in place, the team entered the design phase, hashing out details of story, level design, and character.
They clearly showcased that they were giving some kind of depth
around the gameplay that you'll see the character in. After the concept phase, they
I'm
move into
definitely
going to
put money down to say
we
that
approve the 3D
they
model,
had something good
we apply
going, but the
textures
lack
to
of
it so it
time
looks
screwed them
like
over.
Most likely,
product.
yeah.
Then it's brought into game.
That
We
seems to
apply
be the
motion capture
one
animation to the
unifying
model,
factor.
And that's what really brings it to life.
For the honor of the Commonwealth
There's
tonight,
Lancer.
Sopot dies.
To voice the pivotal role of Squad Commander Molov, THQ brought in Hollywood veteran Lance Henriksen, known to audiences from films like Aliens and Terminator.
And smarter than anybody else. It's written in a very focused way. All of these lines that are in this
Nice, you want to adjust your hair a bit.
That's going on in the game. But
Spalding, not much you can do about
they
that.
Would
destroy the technology that created us.
Very good, Lance. Bullshit you for the interview.
I played
Again, I want to give credit.
And, you know,
I get
so
the
I'm drawing
feeling.
on
Well, okay, no, he may just
that
be
reality
rambling
that
with
I
this,
already
but
know.
okay, to give him the benefit of a doubt,
Those guys
maybe
have
there
more
was
than
something
sense.
actually there.
With the lines being blurred
Also, are we gonna see
between
Jason
interactive
Statham,
entertainment
Dwibs?
and traditional Hollywood
Damn.
movies,
Oh,
you'll start to see a lot more.
Yeah, I know.
Recognizable
Two famous Hollywood
occurring in
actors, and you
video
only, you only show
And
off one.
by
They
casting
want
the
Okay,
Jason
lines
remind
Statham not
me.
want to
people
be
are on the cutting edge
filmed.
of
I'm
I'm trying to
maybe.
remember.
or that
What
trend.
was Jason Statham that big
The
at the
futuristic
time?
setting inspired an
2002,
imaginative
he
array
was
of
starting to
vehicles
get
and
there.
weaponry for the
I
game,
mean, he was in
including
he was in
nano-enhanced weapons that are
Snatch
faster,
2 years
more
prior.
accurate, and more lethal.
But like in terms of like having
When
a
it comes
hot
to
streak,
when it comes to
sort of
sci-fi stuff,
traditional,
Lance is
realistic
definitely the more
type,
famous because, of course, Alien.
environments and weapons
in Terminator,
and
yeah.
vehicles with a futuristic twist. And this gives our
I'm wondering if
designers a lot of creative
maybe,
freedom
you know,
to
Jason
experiment
Statham
and
was
come
an
up with
actor
things
they
that
got,
will
but Lance
fun and
Henriksen was the one they wanted to
Another
focus
added
on.
feature is
Well, plus the year that this came out, he was
Red
also
Faction
in
2 now, when you're
the
holding the
Transporter.
gun with your right hand, you can actually throw the grenade with your left hand, and you can wield a gun in both hands and fire them independently with a trigger from both sides. Actually, now, and there'll be a lot of times when you'll be blazing away with rounds coming from both sides.
Riveting.
With wall-to-wall action, the team at Volition hopes that players will come back to fight for the faction again and again.
Good.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, this
Well,
the scenes footage is
technically-
trying to sell you very hard the game.
I guess technically, but it'll be one heck of a hiatus.
Yeah,
Oh, there's
7
that,
years to be exact. Yep. I've already given my thoughts. So, who wants to go next?
Yeah, this looks boring and generic as shit. Yeah, I don't really have anything much to say. Like the shooting looks generic at best. The levels don't look particularly compelling. The story, like Dib said, is practically non-existent. The endings are absolutely ridiculous and stupid. The music, puts me to sleep. The graphics look fine, I guess, for a 2002 PS2 game, I guess. Yeah, that's basically it. Like this literally feels like one of those games that was made by a generic developer who had like one game, and after that since their one game bombed, they closed down. Like seriously, like this being a sequel to Red Faction 1 is kind of sad, considering again this feels exactly like a generic Halo killer attempt.
Yeah.
From a random developer that has no experience and doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. Even though this is supposedly made by the people who made the first game. So yeah, not great. There's not much to say. It's just it looks like a generic, boring as fuck first-person shooter. Yeah, when people think generic, boring FPSs, this is one of those games you think about, clearly, because this thing looks generic as fuck. All right, that's it.
Whew, yeah, this sucked. Which is a shame because I do see the makings of a good game in here. Heck, that documentary pretty much revealed probably more about this game than what actually the game itself can tell me, but like it seemed like they were just going to improve on the original. Simple as that. My best guess is, due to the rushed nature of the development, what we got was an incredibly neutered affair that has situational destructible environments, much more sluggish feeling gameplay, and sound mixing that, again, pales in comparison to the original game, which is, you know, noticeably older. It really is one of those cases where the older... Sorry. It is just one of those cases where the sequel pales in comparison to its original in every way, shape, or form. And you know what? Maybe that wouldn't hurt too much if, you know, the game was actually good at base to play. Don't even seem like that. Like, okay, so the gameplay doesn't work. The story is arguably in an even rougher shape, since this is clearly made from a team who either didn't really care much about the story, or if the manual is anything to go off of, the story did not get to show its full potential. Like, again, I feel like I learned more about the characters from the manual. And I know what some may say, oh, that's how it used to be in old-time gaming. Maybe in, say, the days of, like, the Sega Genesis, the Super Nintendo, heck, maybe if I'm incredibly generous, maybe even around the days of, say, the PlayStation or the Sega Saturn. Maybe I could be somewhat okay with that, but no, this is by the time of the PS2. And I'm not saying that every PS2 game had a big, gripping narrative, but this game feels like it wants us to take it more seriously than what it actually tries for. So yeah, no dice there. The ending is also pretty lazy and abrupt. Like, so we have a scene that I guess suggests that the girl dies, but no, of course she's okay. And the different endings, like, they can't even be bothered to give us, like, different stills or whatnot. Yeah. It's just literally the same footage and, like, maybe some slightly different music. Oh, mind you, different music just for, like, the last third of an already short cutscene for Shrike, essentially. Heck, some of these don't even feel like bad endings. Ironically, it seems Dwibs got one of the better endings, so...
By being a killing machine.
Yeah, even though according to what
I think it's because of all those bonus missions that helped get the green meter up, in spite of me killing several civilians.
I guess that's the message of the movie. Kill all civilians you want, as long as you're being a good boy.
Goody. I mean... As much as I would joke about that, it doesn't even feel like, unless you're like a Red Faction nut, there is no reason to replay this, even to get the different endings, because at best, you're just getting maybe different lines. Like, I guess maybe if you're disappointed if you got the bad ending, but shoot, given that it's Dwibs who was playing this game, apparently you have to go out of your way to get one of the bad endings. Going off of how it went anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, man, this game is a mess. Not a fun mess, but, well, it's barely even a fascinating one. Like, sure, I'm interested to know more about that, but I'll be honest, it's not like one of the big, top-tier, infamous games that, oh, people go, I want a remake of it. If anything, it's more just a case of, wow, this sucks, here's why it did suck, let's move on. And again, it says something that apparently this game was so bad that people were a-okay for a third game that reinvented the formula instead of getting mad at it for changing stuff.
I get it also Alphabet Guerrilla, you know, came back to the setting and, themes of the first game and back to Mars and everything.
Which, yeah, that's another good point. In a weird way, this feels like a departure from the first game. Yes, technically, I guess it touches up on the war that was, I guess, the catalyst for the plot of Red Faction. But, like, we don't get the old protagonist from the first game. We don't even know what he's doing. It's just, hey, here's this team. And heck, you technically start before the war starts, I guess, because you're working for Sopot at first, but then you cut to, I guess, the last phases of it where you take out the dictator, only for then your team to turn on you. And again, none of this feels like it's given the time for the player to really process or even care, because it's done in these quick cutscenes without you getting to know the characters well, despite it feeling like they want you to care about the story. And again, maybe I wouldn't be throwing as much shade if this didn't come out in the same generation as games like, Metal Gear Solid 2. Hell, even Crash Bandicoot Wrath of Cortex had a better fleshed out narrative, and that was just a game mostly focused on the platform.
And also had celebrity voice acting.
Yeah, like, shoot, I'll give them credit. They made use of the celebrities, all right. Even gave us some cool references to some of their past films with that. Here, you got Jason Statham and Lance Henriksen, but it feels like you barely used them. Maybe this is due to the lacking budget, but in that case I ask, why use them if you don't have the money for it?
Again, crotch more than anything.
Yeah,
Also, I get the feeling that both Statham and Henriksen... I don't get the feeling that they did all their lines in, like, one day.
Would not surprise me. They have so few lines as it is. But yeah, my best guess as to why this game turned out the way it is, well, crunch. They were asked to make a new game in less than a year, and that evidently did not pan out well. Tio, cap us out with your final thoughts.
Not much more to add than what Jova and Pedro said. This game is technically a mess, but I'm willing to go a bit, extend a hand towards the developers and wonder if it really is just a case where the rush development screwed them over. Because the behind the scenes showcased that there was genuine passion behind it, So we really might have a situation like, Sonic 06 in this case, or Alien Korean Marines, where, the publishers sabotage them, or they genuinely did not have enough tanks. But otherwise, the final product that we got really is a mess. The characters are basically, like I said, Rob Liefeld tier level of anonymity. Even the designs are not that cool. If there's something that Liefeld was actually, even for a guilty pleasure of me, good at, was to make the characters in their overbound or sorry bound way recognizable to a degree, or at the very least the type of stereotype of faces and body structure that Liefeld used to do,
That's part of why I say that his designs are at least more memorable. Like, there was more variety or identity to them.
These guys... Okay, it's also because of a terrible lighting and setting, the dreariness, but they could be interchangeable to some degree. The manual does a better job at flashing them and arguably foreshadow their capabilities. I argue that the manual is halfway through. Sure, it tells a bit more than the game, but it also, technically corresponds to what we get in terms of character personality. Shrike is the crazy one, Repta is the strong, but dumb guy, and that gets enhanced in his boss fight. And again, speaking of which, even in the gameplay, sometimes the game is trying to get a bit of diverse material, but it's not getting just not quite there. And this is, again, even as a departure of the first game, even if they wanted to do something like, say, Halloween, and have, at least the early movies with free, and having each structure more as an anthology, with each game following a different type of setting, and having the rebellion as the common theme that, connected all of these together, it's still not really working. This really feels like it could have been just a different IP with a name slap on it. No, I'm sorry. This is not it. I can understand why the franchise was dormant. Volition did this as Saints Row, and when Guerrilla arrived, they went back to the board with the first game. I can understand that probably we could have got a better game with a bit more time, but there's the circumstances. That's it. Libs.
Alright, so, well, at least the series should hopefully not get any more boring than this. So, join us in the future when we go back to the Red Faction series and to Mars to tackle Red Faction Guerrilla.
Alright, see ya.
Probably the remastered version. See ya.
See ya.
Ta-ta.